we haven't consistently been able to practice as a unit, since training camp started. And I think that's where maybe some of the inconsistency is showing up, particularly on third downs. It just seems like we're a little bit off. But as a play caller, you just adapt to the personnel, and our staff has done a great job getting those guys ready to play, and the guys are making plays when they have been called upon. And so it's been cool to see those guys step up and make plays.
Did you notice the Bears playing you guys a little bit differently than maybe you anticipated, with maybe some more heavier boxes just because of maybe some of the injuries on the outside?
Yeah, I think teams are going to challenge you with a little more man coverage if they want to see where you're at with wideout and what those guys can do. And I thought the guys responded and made a bunch of plays.
What kind of strain does that put on the quarterback when you don't have the practice rep, just in terms of getting timing down with receivers and whatnot?
Yeah, it's big. I think that's a great point you bring up. That, more than anything, is if guys aren't practicing during the week, or you haven't been able to consistently work with a guy throughout training camp, throughout the season, it's not easy when the pressure's on and the lights are on to get on the same page. But like I said, I think they've done a great job, and Jaden's done a tremendous job of kind of lifting the group up and has the guys playing at a high level.
And how's Sam Cosme looked since he's started practicing?
Still working through it. He's big, physical, looks big, strong, fast. We'll see how that kind of progresses throughout the week, but I think he's made strides. So I'm not sure if it'll be this week, but I like what I've seen.
Hey, Coach, kind of going back to that theme of the wide receiver group, and just I know you've talked a lot about time on task. You just brought it up, a moment ago. What is your overall assessment of this group? I know you have to elevate, a couple players from the practice squad. So what is your overall assessment?
Yeah, I think, they're answering the call. I think you look at Chris Moore, had a big touchdown catch. Luke continues to make plays. Jalen Lane gets better and better each week. So I've been really impressed with the guys that have been asked to step up. They're doing it, and it's not easy to do when you haven't had as many reps as other guys, and then all of a sudden you're kind of thrown in there to be able to understand the offense, execute at a high level, make plays when the lights are on. That says a lot about kind of their character and their mentality.
Kliff, what is Chris Paul doing to be successful in your eyes, and how are you taking advantage of it, or what does that change for you?
He's a guy who, from day one, us getting here till now, it looks like a completely different human. Just the way he plays, he's changed his body, really got in shape, and he's just a physical presence for us in the run game. In the pass game, if he gets his hands on you, he's really hard to get around. And then he's one of the best communicators I've ever been around on the O-line, really talking through things, talking through protections and run game and points and things of that nature. So the O-line really appreciates that about him. And so he's just been a real pleasant surprise, actually, this season to see him step up. And, that left side with him and LT has really helped us run the football well at times.
And when it comes to running backs putting the ball on the ground, obviously nothing you want when it's a young guy like this. It's now happened a couple weeks in a row. Presumably you've had some kind of conversation. But for you, what's the – I have to factor in he is young versus, hey, it doesn't matter who is playing there. We can't have that. Yeah,
there's a fine line to walk. I think that's – we're bottom part of the league right now in turnover margin, and that's really holding us back from kind of taking that next step, I think, as a team. And Bill – knows he has to protect the football. That's first and foremost when you talk about running back responsibilities, and I think he'll continue to get better, continue to learn, and I've said it, from the beginning, each game is a new experience for him, and he's going to learn from and take away, and that's 2 weeks in a row that he's put on the ground, and he knows the expectation moving forward is that can't happen.
Luke McCaffrey seems to be making some big plays when he's on the field. With all the injuries at the top of the wide receiver room, he's still only getting about a third of the snaps on offense. What more do you need to see to him to get him out on the field more often? Yeah,
I think we have a good rotation with him, and we like what he's doing, the role he's been in. But as the thing goes, he'll continue to earn more reps, and we'll see how these other guys come back. I don't know timetables on everybody and when they'll be back exactly, but yeah, I think I like the progression he's at, and when he's in there, he's playing at a high level.
Coach, when you right here, back here, with the tight end room, Zach made obviously a big play the other night. How do you see the room progressing now as far as the pass catching side?
Yeah, Zach is one of the premier route running, pass catching tight ends in league history, and so we call upon him in a lot of those situations, third downs, 2 minutes, things like that. But John Bates, Ben, Colson are all very equipped to do it as well. They just haven't had as many opportunities because of Zach's kind of presence in that room. But I really like how that room's developed in the run game and the pass game, and it's definitely an entire room that's ascending.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Kind of following up on the Luke McCaffrey question, his role on special teams, while I know his reps have kind of gone down, actually his influence, I would say, on the special teams has gone up. How much does that kind of impact how much you can get him on the field on offense as well?
Yeah, there's some of that. Like I said, I think we've brought him along at the pace that we wanted to and I wanted to, and it'll continue to expand. But it's definitely part of it when he's returning kicks like that. You want to make sure you don't wear the guy out.
Kliff, more on Zach Ertz. Previously, the last couple of games, I think he had 2 catches and then no catches against the Chargers. Then this past week against the Bears, he had 6 catches. Was there a point of emphasis to kind of get him more involved because he's so pivotal in those type of spots?
Yeah, it's just how the game goes. We have a lot of talented players, so it's going to be week in, week out. When we have that full repertoire of skill guys out there of who gets the ball and which way the game goes. But he's a guy who's always going to be quarterback friendly. He's going to present himself and be open, and he made some real critical plays the other night.
Kliff, when it comes to first and second down, you guys are second in yards per play, but that drops to 27th on third down. Has there been something that you've noticed in terms of a trend of why you guys are struggling on that down in particular?
I have not. I wish I knew. We're working through that. We haven't played very well on third down. I know near the bottom of the league, and I think that combined with the turnover margin, very fortunate to be 500 at this point because those are 2 critical areas. But it starts with me, game plan and play calling, and then we just have to the sense of focus and urgency on that down and distance has to get better because we have to continue to stay on the field, and we can't rely on fourth down every time to keep it rolling.
This is a very specific question. What did you see on Jaden's interception? Was that like the right spot to deliver the ball and it was just an off throw, or what did you see?
Yeah, I think there were a number of things that went into that play, but I liked that he cut it loose. We just needed to be more detailed overall, I'd say, as an offense on that play.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.